This next speaker, Lindley McCutcheon, is going to be speaking to you about this was kind of the most requested person on this topic that we had, and on the three-set close. So let me tell you a little bit about Lindley, by the way. What you'll know about Lindley almost immediately if you interact with her is she's got tremendous energy, right? And enthusiasm, I'd say, for life, but also she loves selling Cutco and loved selling Cutco because she did a lot of it, right? She was good at it, right? And that passion, that is really contagious, right? She started before entering her first year at Bryn Mawr College, where she majored in math and French. She ended up with a 3.9, which is, again, super darn impressive to be able to do that. In addition to that, by the way, she was like on the a cappella, she did ice hockey. There was like 2 or 3 other things that she did on top of it as well. One of the things that you're going to find is that when you can succeed here, it helps you in other areas. And when you succeed in other areas, it helps you succeed here. The flip side is also true, that if you haven't been successful at those things, start being successful, right? And use Vector as a place to do that. Let me continue on about Lindley. She started in June of 2020. So I think it was last week in 2020, so 5 years ago, right? Her first summer, she sold $46,000 and was the number 34 scholarship winner. That was one of the toughest summers to earn a scholarship because it was the pandemic and there were no college student jobs available. So we had more people on staff as a company than ever. No exaggerations. That you were number 34 says something about you. Her personal sales, she personally sold $230,000. $86,000 of that was over 4 SC2s. Her best SC2 was $28,000 in the summer of 2023. The 3-set close helped her close 6 signatures in her first SC2. I just want you to imagine selling 6 signature sets in 3 weeks. Like, nothing bad's going to happen. So she's an expert at this. She sold over 30 signatures and many ultimates, excluding upgrades, and then she used to have a crappy average order size. So she talks almost in a confident way about her lack of a good fast start. It was a good fast start, but she didn't hit her goal. I'll say it that way, because her average order size was lower, her closing ratio was lower, and then she heard this talk, and that shifted everything because she just took the talk and was like, I'm going to implement it. That is my biggest advice. This is a fantastic message you're about to hear. So I'm going to spotlight her. Make sure you pay some great attention and take good notes. And this will be recorded. We'll send it out. Lindley, take it away.
Amazing. I'm so excited to be talking about the 3-set close. This to me is just like, it's one of the easiest things to implement that's going to 100% transform your demo. So real quick, whether you're in a room with people or on Zoom, raise your hand if you want to increase your closing percentage. Raise your hand if you want to increase your closing percentage. Awesome. Raise your other hand. Keep this one up. Raise your other hand if you want to increase your average order. Okay, amazing. Now, if you're solo, give yourself a high five. If you're next to a friend, give them a high five, and go ahead and write down 3-set close in your notes and get ready to dial in. So first, I'm going to walk you through the story of the 3 sets. So it's a little story time first. Of the 3, the first one is the one that you know and you love and you learn about very in-depth in training. It's the homemaker set, right? We also call this the basic set because it really it's like the bare bones basics of cooking. So this is the first set of Cutco they ever came out with all the way back in 1949. And for 50 years, it was the only set that someone could buy. However, over the years, Cutco obviously made more knives, right? Jobs in the kitchen, they got more specialized. People realized how important it is to have the right tool for the right job. So over the 50 years, Cutco realized there were a ton of different knives that people could get if they wanted, and if they wanted to get them individually, but there wasn't a place to store them. And so Cutco was limiting their customers by having the homemaker set be the biggest set. So in 2000, Cutco made one big set that held nearly every single knife they made. And this is the ultimate set, or I like to call it the complete set. Ultimate set to me seems a little intimidating. Someone might not feel like the ultimate cook, but they do want a complete set. So the complete set has some of my favorite knives and the best knives. I love the boning knife. It comes with the 4-inch paring knife, the vegetable knife, the salmon knife or the melon knife, and then also the cleaver. And then in 2012, Cutco realized they needed an in-between set for the customers who weren't just basic cooks and wanted some specialty knives, but they didn't want the whole collection on their counter. So Cutco asked around to the top reps and managers and asked what pieces people were most frequently buying with the basic set. And so that's how they created the signature set, also known as the family set, or what I like to call the Goldilocks set, because it's not too big or too small, it's just in between. And so those 4 tools, first one is the Hardy Slicer. So if you don't know about the Hardy Slicer, take notes on the Hardy Slicer. It is the biggest, thickest knife we make with the double D edge. It's pretty much like if a trimmer and a cleaver combined. I always tell my customers, this is the bad boy of the kitchen, Mrs. Jones, and who doesn't love a bad boy? It is also the barbecue knife, which is part of why we sell so many signatures and ultimates around 4th of July weekend. Because what is everyone doing all weekend this weekend? Barbecuing, cooking out, going out to eat. That is why we sell so many big sets this weekend in particular. Hardy Slicer is also perfect for hard jobs like sweet potatoes, rutabaga, frozen food, and then hard cured meats like salami, pepperoni, so on and so forth. Second one is the Petite Santoku. This is our baby chopper. No, we don't chop babies with it, but it is our mini chopper. It has a 5-inch blade. So it's great for smaller jobs on the cutting board. I have lots of customers who really like to have a smaller knife for smaller jobs. I also have some like moms who really enjoy having a smaller blade because they like to have control over that smaller blade when chopping. Also, with the signature set, having 2 chef knives, it's really, really great when one is dirty and you don't want to have to hand wash it or like run in the dishwasher real quick. Or when you're cooking with 2 people and you want to like literally cut prep time in half, having 2 chef knives is going to do that. So it's great for onions, herbs, garlic, nuts, etc. Third one is the cheese knife, right? It has the micro double D edge, so it is the sharpest knife we make with the teeth. It's also known as our non-stick knife because the holes, here's a physics lesson for you, right? They decrease the surface area, increase airflow, and so it prevents stuff from sticking to it. So it's great for more than just cheese, but anything watery, sticky, squishy, or starchy. So it's great for more than just cheese, anything watery, sticky, squishy, or starchy, like tomatoes, citrus, cucumbers, and then it's absolutely ridiculous on potatoes as well. For those of you who've earned the cheese knife in your fast start, bring potatoes on every demo. And then the super shears are included in the signature set as well. And then, of course, there's like the basic homemaker set, which you all already know everything about. So what the 3-set close is it's showing your customers the 3 main sets, the ultimate, signature, and homemaker, and letting them pick their starting point on the staircase of dropping down. So I've been using the 3-set close since after my fast start. It's helped me unbelievably with my average order closing percentage and confidence. And we've been starting to implement it in our office this week. Josiah Agee and Lindley McCutcheon on our team, they both sold their first signature sets this week, the first time they read this on a demo. They weren't pros at it yet. I just said, hey, read this. And they sold their first signature sets. So if you want to sell more big sets, implement this ASAP, like on your demos tonight after this. But before getting into the technicalities and the verbiage of the close itself, a large part of using this close is having a set mindset and the belief that your customers, they don't only need a set, right? But they need one of our main 3 sets. I personally believe all of my customers need at least one of these 3. Like I honestly think everyone needs at least the signature set, but most often it's the ultimate set. The ultimate set, the complete set, it is the best thing in Cutco's cutlery collection for Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I was actually looking at this. It was bonkers. First of all, we all say it has a big discount. It has a humongous discount. In case you've never looked, there is a built-in $783 discount in the ultimate set with steak knives. Like, write that down. There's a built-in $783 discount. That means that the company has already built in a 17% discount for the ultimate set with steak knives. They also get the most amount of free stuff. With the homemaker, they get like 300-ish of free stuff, and that's awesome. With the ultimate, they can get $600 of free stuff. That's like a lockback knife as a Christmas gift for everyone in a family of 5. They can get their Christmas shopping, their wedding gifts, all of that done with the free stuff on the ultimate set. And with the ultimate set, Mr. and Mrs. Jones get the complete tool chest on their counter. Like, they would literally never have to buy knives again. They would have the right tool for the right job every single time. Imagine every time you come back from the store, Mrs. Jones, you always have the right tool for dinner. Now, could they get by with just a homemaker set? 110% they could get by. Who wants to just get by for 20, 30, 40 years? Like, yes, of course, you could use a screwdriver as a hammer, but it's important to use the right tool for the right job. You could wear high heels every day of your life or use a putter for every stroke in golf. Why don't you? Because it's really important to have the right tool for the right job. Now, a great thing about this close, and I'll put the bit.ly link in it in the chat after this, so you guys will have it. But when I was new, I thought that I needed to know everything about everything in the ultimate set to be able to sell it. Instead, I want you guys to keep in mind that when selling big sets, it's not about selling them on why they would use every single individual piece, but it's selling them on the peace of mind that comes with having the right tools for the right job all in one place. So one thing I love to say about the complete set, easy one-liner, is this is our buy once, cry once, smile forever set, Mrs. Jones. So this is our buy once, cry once, smile forever set, Mrs. Jones. And it's always better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Yes, your customer, they might only use the cleaver once a month. I'm not going to tell you your customer is going to use it every day. They might use it once a month for the tough job that, they don't want to break their other knives on. But even if they only use it once a month, over 40 years, that means they're using the cleaver almost 500 times. And that's like once a month. If they're using every piece in their set just 3 times a week, if they use a chopper just 3 times a week, which they're using it more than that, but only 3 times a week, over 40 years, they're using each piece 6,300 times. I want you guys to visualize that. Now, and that's just 3 times a week. Think about how often they're using the table knives or the steak knives. So also, the more pieces of Cutco that someone has, the longer their knives are going to stay sharp for. Why? Because if someone gets one piece of Cutco, they're going to love that piece and they're going to use that one piece on everything, even on things that's not meant to be used on. They'll use the trimmer on a watermelon, which is crazy. And then it'll dull way faster than it should because it's being used 9 times a day on 9 different things that they need 9 different tools for. The other thing with the 3-set close and the complete set in general is it's important to understand that anyone and everyone can afford the complete set when they want it badly enough. I was talking to one of our Cutco sales professionals in the central region, Quentin Israelson, a couple of weeks ago. And what he and I were talking about is people make space in their budget for what they want. Like if there's one thing that I've taken away from this job, it is that people make space in their budget for what they want. You've covered this in training, but most of you have spent a couple $1,000s on what you're passionate about, whether that be clothes, concerts, video games, shoes, cars, whatever the case is. And the majority of you are 18, 19, 20-year-olds doing that with part-time job money, allowance, and birthday money. So it never has to do with price. It always has to do with value. So doesn't it just make sense that someone who's over 30 and working and likes to cook would invest a couple grand into something that they'll love and use every single day for 20, 30, 40 years? Yeah, of course it does. Anyone and everyone can afford the complete set when they want it badly enough. My first complete set, some of you guys have seen the demo, it was to a random couple in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, who work at a slaughterhouse. Another ultimate set I sold was to a retired couple of grandparents in Michigan who hosted daycare in their home. Another was a couple in Shelbyville, Indiana, which is a teeny tiny town. And the mom doesn't work and the dad is in lawn care. So I just need you to understand it always has to do with value. It never has to do with price. That's the confidence you need to present it with. So that's all about the complete set. Now the signature set, it's awesome. It was my favorite set for a long time. It's the second best deal for the same reasons, but for a smaller set. I think everyone needs to have at least the signature set because it has the basic tools of the homemaker, plus the super shears, which everyone needs and is going to use all the time, plus the cheese knife, which I'm sure everyone can agree is one of the best knives, the Hardy slicer, so they get a compact heavy-duty tool, and they get another chopper. So everyone needs at least a signature. Also, if you want to make sure you're saving your customers money, the most expensive way to buy Cutco is piece by piece. Your customers, they don't get a discount when they buy one piece at a time. And when they buy only a few pieces, they're going to fall in love with Cutco. And they're going to, they're going to upgrade later on down the road anyway, maybe to Tarek if he's doing a service call for them. And then there's inflation and no discounts. And so they'll spend a lot more money in the future than if they were to just one and done, buy the whole set today. So this is our buy once, cry once, smile forever set, Mrs. Jones. It's also important to understand the homemaker, it's just too small for a lot of families. Like 8 table knives, that's sufficient for a family of 4 if they're only using the table knives twice a day. In my house, they're used a lot more frequently than that. On top of that, they get a big like cooked meat knife, a little cooked meat knife, a big fruit knife and a little fruit knife, a utility knife, chopper, spreader, forks, and a bread knife. That's just not enough for 40 years of cooking, even basic cooking. So you're doing your customers a service when you get them a set, and the bigger the set, the bigger the service. So how do we sell them bigger sets? You got to show them bigger sets, right? You're never going to sell what you don't show. So I read the 3-set close to them instead of the typical page 9. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go through the close with you guys. Afterwards, I'm going to put the bit.ly link in the chat, but you guys are about to get the words, so you can listen to the words, but I also want you to hear how I say it. But I'm going to go ahead and read through this with you guys with my blue book. So Mrs. Jones, we have 3 types of sets. We have large sets for people who love to cook, medium sets for people who cook a couple times a week, and smaller sets for people who barely cook at all and just have to eat. So this one here, this is our complete set, and it has all the specialty knives in it. This is the biggest, baddest, best set of knives that we make. This is a set that everyone wants. Maybe not everyone can afford it today, but it's a set that everyone works towards. This is our family set. It's the in-between set, which has 4 extra pieces. It has the Hardy slicer, right? This is the biggest, thickest knife we make with the double D edge. It's great for slicing meats such as salami, sausage, or pepperoni. It's also perfect for tougher jobs like sweet potato, cantaloupe, or barbecue. We also have the Petite Santoku. We call this the Rachel Ray knife because the Santoku style is what many chefs are using on TV. It's similar to the Petite chef knife, but it's about half the size. So it's much more convenient to bring out for smaller everyday chopping jobs. Then we have our cheese knife. With its micro double D edge, this is the sharpest of all our knives. It's without a doubt the best cheese knife ever made, but it's also a great utility knife. You use it for things like cheese, tomatoes, cucumbers, potatoes, or just about anything else you want to slice. And then the super shears. So one of the best parts about the family set is having a spot in your block to put the super shears I showed you at the beginning. As you know, these will be valuable in your kitchen and around your house, so it's always nice to know where to find them. It also comes with 10 steak knives as well, instead of 8, which allows you to entertain more people and limits how often you're forced to do the dishes. And then, as I said earlier, our Homemaker Plus 8 is our basic set. It's perfect for families that cook 1 to 3 times per week. It has the 10 basic tools I explained earlier, 8 table knives, the wood block, and a sharpener for straight edges. So, if you were considering a set of Cutco, which of these 3 sets do you see you, your family, and your guests liking the best and using the most for the next 20, 30, 40 years? And then they pick. Let's say they pick the signature set. Okay, perfect. Did you like the steak knives or the table knives better for that one? Let's say they say steak because they're smart. Okay, awesome. Well, the great thing about this set is that it doesn't cost $6,000. In fact, it doesn't even cost as much as the Wusthof price of $3,000. So the family set is only $28.37 paid in full, which includes shipping. But most of our customers take advantage of our 5-month interest-free investment option, which is only $627 today and includes tax. Now, let me explain our buy now bonus. So we have a bonus where when you buy now, I can give you a matching kitchen tool set, entertainer pack, or super shears, or up to $450 of free stuff. So if you were considering the set of Cutco, what free stuff would you choose? And then they pick, we'll just say they pick random gifts. Awesome. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you. Would you like to try it out for a couple of weeks risk-free and get your free gifts? And then you guys know how to do the rest, right? You handle their objections, you close. But that's the 3-set close. I'm going to put the link to that in the chat here. You can click it open so that you have it saved, but don't start reading through it because I have more things to say. But there's the bit.ly link. Now, I wanted to highlight a couple of keys and why we say the things that we say in the 3-set close. So the first blurb at the very top, right, we have large sets for people who love to cook, medium sets for people who cook a couple times a week, smaller sets for people who barely cook at all and just have to eat. A couple of things with that. The first, it helps them realize that there's a set for them. Sets, they're not just for gourmet chefs or for people who cook a million times a day. We have something that works for them. Also, when we say, I shouldn't have closed my blue book. When we say Large sets, medium sets, and smaller sets. How small does this thing look? It looks tiny. So it helps to put this in perspective too. Then when we're describing the complete set, some people gravitate towards and want like the biggest, baddest, best set. That's going to draw some people in. Also, the maybe not everyone can afford it today. I hope you guys heard I didn't say that apologetically, right? Maybe not everyone can afford it today. Makes some people want to puff up their chest and show that they can buy it today. This line also helps to keep the value and their price expectations high. So just like how with the homemaker price drop, you want them expecting to be the price to be much higher than it actually is. And then again, with the ultimate set, it's not about selling each piece, it's about selling them on the idea of a package. Then with the signature, it's just about helping them realize it's only a little bit bigger than the homemaker. And the extra tools, those are ones they'd use all the time anyway, so it just makes sense. And then the closing line. I love the closing line. If you are considering a set of Cutco, which of these 3 sets do you see you, your family, and your guests liking the best and using the most for the next 20, 30, 40 years? Here's what's magic about that. It's not saying, what do you want to buy today? Right? It ties in emotion, it ties in their family, it ties in the longevity. 20, 30, 40 years, this helps them to realize this isn't a purchase, it's an investment in their home, it's an investment in their family, they're entertaining their guests, all of that. So why does the 3-set close work so well? First of all, when you ask for a bigger order, you'll get bigger sales. You've probably heard this from your manager before, but when you start higher, you'll end up higher. It just gives us more steps on that staircase of dropping down that you guys learned about in training. Remember, it used to start with the homemaker at the top. What you just did is you've added the signature, and well, I'm sort of even off the screen here, sort of the point. You have the homemaker at the top, and then you'll add the signature and the ultimate set. So when we're able to add 1 or 2 more steps above the homemaker, and when it takes 4 to 7 no's to get to a yes, adding 2 to 4 more no's when you're using the trade-in specials, handling objections, etc., you'll end up a lot higher on the stairs. And so you're going to have a higher average order because of that. You're also going to have a higher average order because you'll sell more small sets too. So I think sometimes people just view the 3-set closes to sell, to make the smaller sets look smaller. But the goal of this is to sell big sets. And the byproduct of this is price positioning the homemaker to make it feel even less expensive than it already is. Because would you guys agree, once they've seen 3,800 or 3,400 or 2,800 or 2,400, does 1,664 or 369 feel that big anymore? No, not at all. So does the galley set, I'll pull this up here too. Does the galley set, could anyone say this seems like too many pieces? No, once they've seen the complete set, the family set, the basic set, no. So that's why it's the perfect starter set. Also, this really flipped a switch for me, and Jacob and I were talking about yesterday, what is it that switched to me selling so much more, is because when you start closing bigger and selling Siggies and Ultis, you have so much more social proof for your demos. So one of the things that helped Kaylee on our team sell her first signature set is that she told her customers their neighbors had a Siggy. And they were like, okay, well, we can't be worse than the darks, so we got to get what the darks got, because no one wants to be first, last, or left out. Write that down. No one wants to be the first person to do something. No one wants to be the last person to do something. And no one wants to be left out. So the 3-set close, that will help you sell bigger. But then also the social proof. So the selfies and the stories, that's going to help you out even more. Because you got to get the ball rolling on selling big, and then it doesn't stop once it's normalized. When you can tell your customers, I sell more signature sets than homemaker sets, it just continues to happen because it makes sense, because that's what everyone else is doing. That is when I started selling more signatures, is when I was able to say, oh, this is what all of my customers are getting. Everyone wants to do what everyone else is doing. So collect the selfies, collect the stories. That adds a ton to your demos. And then I'm going to give you 3 last thoughts to leave with. I want you to write a star by this first one, because this was a game changer for me. And I think it would have impacted my first push even more. But the first is that I think that and my team has not heard me shut up about this last week, I think that one of the best investments you can make in your Cutco business is buying the ultimate roll-up in the Buy Cutco Samples section of Vector Connect. So real quick, I want you guys to all look at the screen. Raise your hand if you have sold a trimmer, petite carver, table knife, or super shears because the customers held it because it was in your sample kit. Great. Imagine having the 5 most badass pieces in the ultimate set ready to show. Like, how many of you feel like having more pieces in the big sets would help you sell more big sets? Great. That is what the roll-up is for. Zoe Joseph on our team yesterday sold a Hardy slicer because her customer was able to cut through frozen bread with it. That is what Cutco sells Cutco better than anything else, so buy more of it. And here's a secret in case your managers haven't told you, is Cutco reps can buy Cutco at a super discounted rate. So for example, the ultimate roll-up set, I need you guys to hear this, the ultimate roll-up set, it has the boning knife, the Hardy slicer, I see Jacob freaking out. It's because it's unreal. The boning knife, the Hardy slicer, the 7-inch Santoku, vegetable knife, and cleaver. It's worth $948, but Cutco reps can buy those 5 pieces for only $250.
What?
That's Mike, I don't even know if it's absurd.
I didn't know that.
It's absurd. That's less
I knew
than
there was a discount. But
no, that's getting the cleaver at a discount and everything else for free. And you can get that. Those are yours forever. That's in classic or pearl. So I want you guys to write down the steps to do this. Write down, I want all of your pens moving, vectorconnect.com, and then a little arrow. Then there's the All About Cutco tab. Click All About Cutco. And then it's Buy Cutco Samples. It's ridiculous. You can literally buy an ice cream scoop that's guaranteed forever for $12. Like, go check it out. Order your pieces today so that they arrive in time for the push. So that's the first of my last 3. My second thought is that you sell the most of whatever your favorite thing is. Sales is a transfer of energy and enthusiasm. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they can feel the authentic passion and enthusiasm. So if you're selling a lot of spatula spreaders and the spreader is your favorite, you need to transfer that energy to big sets because you will fall and you need to fall more in love with the big sets. The reason why so many of my customers have the signature set is that for a long time, it was my favorite thing that Cutco sold. It's also the same reason why so many people in my fast start got the can opener and the trimmer, because those were my favorites. So fall in love with the bigger sets. You'll sell more of the bigger sets because Mr. and Mrs. Jones can see how enthusiastic you are. And if you are honest with yourself, if you know that you need help believing in the bigger sets, whether you need to believe in the price more, whether you need to believe in the pieces more, why someone needs 2 paring knives, 2 bread knives, a boning knife, whatever, talk to your manager about it. Like, we're more than happy to help you out. That belief, you have 2 weeks to work on it before the push, right? Let's work on it now. And then the third thing, again, this is something I was talking with Quentin about, is that being calm, cool, collected, and confident when presenting the 3-set close is essential. It's the 4 C's. So calm, cool, collected, and confident. If you're scared of asking Mr. and Mrs. Jones to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 with you, then they won't. If you're scared, they're not going to. So you need to ask with confidence. Your customers are rarely more confident in the price or the product than you are. They get their confidence from you. So John Berghoff, he is one of the greats in the history of the company. I love this quote because it's just so true, is that the person who sells the most is the person who asks Mrs. Jones for the most amount of money with the straightest face. So the person who sells the most is the person who asks Mrs. Jones for the most amount of money with the straightest face. So go out there with confidence. Use this script today on your demos, even if you're like, I haven't perfected it yet. Josiah hadn't perfected it. And then she sold a signature set. So use this script today. Watch what happens when you ask for the order with confidence and smile. I'm so freaking excited to see you guys on stage at SC2. Let's crush the push.
All right, let me actually get Lindley back on. I'm going to ask her a couple of questions and throw in the chat, by the way. Feel free to throw in the chat. What are some of the things that you got out of the message? I'm sure there was a ton. Just on the last point, I want to make a comment, then I'm going to ask Lindley a couple of questions here. By the way, we have a Lindsay speaking later. So in case you're wondering why did I stumble on the phrase, on the word there. Number one is just a statement. I think I heard it this a long time ago. It's like when you ask for the order, whether it's the Cutco Kitchen, or the Blue Book special, which by the way, we have reps that ask for that. The other day we had a rep turn in a $250,000 order, right? He didn't do that because he was saying, do you want to get the homemaker with a scared look on his face? He was like, hey, would you like to order this? And it was a business gift order, just in case you're wondering. So, learn how to ask for big orders, learn how to ask for business gift orders. We'll talk about that later. But when you ask, you should ask it as if it's like, hey, by the way, do you know what time it is? I forgot my phone, or I don't have a watch on me. And then did you want to get that homemaker, or did you want to get that signature? Like that's the tone that you should take, right? There shouldn't be any fear of like, they're gonna be mad at me. They're not. They are not going to be mad at you whatsoever. Again, when you're my age and you buy things, like, a washing machine's really expensive, right? Countertops are really expensive. You know that when you replace something, it's really expensive. So you're not phased by it's, $1,600 or $2,000 for what is the equivalent of an appliance. I want to share with you, what I have on my counter at home? And there's me and my two boys, and I didn't really cook until I started working with Vector. I have a Homemaker Plus 8 sitting on my counter, right next to an Ultimate. Okay, so in other words, those are the pieces that I've got at home. And I can't tell you how often, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm like, darn it, I need an extra French chef knife. So I have like 3 or 4 of them in there. Or I'm looking for, like yesterday, I used 2 different paring knives or something. Right. And I need you to understand, like, it's not uncommon. If you're a family that has like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, I have a couple friends that have like 5 kids or more, like you're using a ton of Cutco every day. There's multiple things in the dishwasher. So that's one thing. Second thing, again, just as a reminder, is like, if you're asking, like, who buys, the 3-set, the 3-set clothes type of people, if it's people that like cooking, people that have some extra cash, right? But sometimes it's just they enjoy cooking. So like they'll find a way. My first homemaker was to someone who said, I can't afford it. That's why I'm getting it. And I was like, what did you just say? Because that doesn't make sense. And she was like, Mike, the reason I'm buying is because we don't go out every meal. I have to make meals, right? Because we can't. So we can't afford to not cook at home. Does everyone get that? Okay. And if someone's like, we eat out all the time, well, they have a ton of extra cash, right? I went to Walker Brothers with my son. He wanted pancakes. I don't eat breakfast. It's like $20. I was like, dude, we could have made that. I could have like made the pancakes. Okay, back to the Lindley, sorry. When you're closing on a 3-set close, and it's like the spouse who's like, I got to talk to my husband, or I got to talk to my wife, like something like that. Like, what is your response to that?
My first thing is that I don't see the spouses separately. I will reschedule the demo.
Great.
If what I
Great. So let's pause on that. So book demos after 8:30. So your demo at 9 p.m., those are phenomenal 3-set close demos. Sorry, keep going though, Lindley.
was just gonna say one of my favorite demos was an 11 p.m. demo. I remember I was offering 2 times to say would 9 p.m. or 11 p.m. work better, because I wanted him to pick the 9. And he was like, if I picked 11, would you actually do 11? I was like, yeah, I would. I was like, I'm working really hard in a push right now. This was SC2 2022. He's like, wow. He's like, you really are working hard. He's like, heck yeah. Yeah, let's do 11. They got a homemaker set with a free Hardy slicer. He's an HVAC guy. He gave me like 10 of his like customer leads who were all HM30s. So that's the first thing, is I don't do the demos without the spouses. If they say they want to think about it, that was the question. If they say they want to think about it, first I want to figure out what it is they're thinking about. Because if they just say they want to think about it, that gives me nothing to work with. So I need to figure out if they want to think about the price or the pieces. And then if they're really not sure, if they really say, hey, Lindley, like I will not decide on the homemaker set. I will not decide on the ultimate set today. Hey, no worries. What most of our customers in your situation do when they're a little uncomfortable with like the complete set, they often just go with the family set. And so I'll show them the family set, and we have like builder sets, which is where you can get the family set pieces in the ultimate set block, so they can upgrade to that later. But that way they don't have to like decide on the big kahuna, like the whole complete set today. They still get to try out most of the pieces. And then it's cool that like the signature set can be oh yeah, no, this is the smaller option.
So Lindley, do you almost kind of, what I'm hearing is like, you almost sell them off of like a future buy, right? Can you explain a little bit more on that?
Yeah. you want to be on your customer's side. So if they're saying, hey, I want to think about the ultimate set, or it's too many pieces, or it's too much money. Hey, Mrs. Jones, like, I completely understand. If I were in your situation, right? Objection cycle then. If I were in your situation, I'd probably be feeling the same way. The ultimate set, it is all of our tools. And so if you're feeling like you're not sure if you would use all of the tools, what most of our customers in your situation like to do, help them feel like it's normalized, right? What most of our customers in your situation like to do is they like to just try out the signature set pieces in the ultimate set block. So that way, when you do decide later on down the road that you want to upgrade to the whole ultimate set, you don't have to get a new block. You already have a bunch of the basic tools. And then that way you could decide that you love it, instead of, like, one of the lines that I love is, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, most of my customers, they value having a few high quality knives as opposed to none. If they say they want to think about it, most of my customers like having a few high quality knives as opposed to none. Because if they walk away, they're getting none, and then they're not going to get later.
Super important. Again, just normalizing things for people. Hey, most of my customers. And if it's like, oh, I don't have many customers, just say most of our customers.